All right, thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Yes, it's your good friend Possible here, and I'm back in action doing what I do best, and that is reviewing movies that have come out recently. Excuse me. In this particular batch of movies, there's going to be two of them, okay? They are connected to the video game world. We're talking, of course, about Dead Space. Now, Dead Space right now has four video games actually, excuse me, and it has these two movies. It's good that you have a good video game. It's better when that good video game has sequels that keep improving on it. But when you have videos mixed with movies, mixed with books, and all these other connections, it's hard really to keep them straight. Now, I am not going to talk too much about the connection because I'm not 100% sure how all of these things are connected. But the one thing I will mention is that when you watch these movies, you feel it. You definitely feel that what happens in Dead Space and what happens in the sequels affect the movies, and if you're not playing those games and if you don't understand those games, you're not going to appreciate these movies at the level you could have. And since I didn't finish Dead Space 1, I didn't care for it, I liked it. It was a Resident Evil meets Aliens type movie. So, excuse me, video games. But I couldn't finish it. I mean, just didn't care after a while. It's hard to to get used to a hero who never talks and you get only a glimpses of his story, Link notwithstanding. That said, Downfall. Basically, you have this huge spaceship that is supposed to go out collecting alien artifacts. They find one and they bring it onto their ships, only somebody down on the planet decides that he's going to get his wife, who is dying, onto the planet again. Now, obviously, the wife is freaking out. She says, they want our bodies, they're trying to kill us, and she tries to kill herself, so he's got to get her to medbay real quick. But because he gets her to medbay, she's able to turn into a monster and turn everybody into monsters. It would be gory, it would be graphic if it wasn't a cartoon. That's the problem here. So when you see somebody's head chopped off and you can see his bone and his bone structure and it's all together, it looks too much like a doctor's poster than an actual person getting all chopped up and everything. That said, of course, even though there's monsters aboard the ship and all is lost, you've got your chief of security bound and determined to keep everyone alive, and her ragtag group of, the usual smartass, we shoot first, ask question later security force. There's a little bit of religious aspect in it about people who believe that this artifact is part of their new world and stuff like that, and that we're one day to be in contact with aliens and blah blah blah. The movie ultimately just doesn't come together properly, and one of the issues with that is the fact that it's a cartoon. That was one of the problems I had. It had a lot going for it, it just didn't connect. But then again, that's how I felt about the first Dead Space game. Probably not the best expert to talk about that. So that's Dead Space Downfall for you. I'm not sure how it connects, but from what I understand, you play Dead Space 1, you play Extraction, and then after Extraction comes this movie, somewhere in there, definitely after Dead Space 1, and then you get Dead Space 2. Now, it's good to play Dead Space 2 before watching Aftermath, because Aftermath is not like I thought it was going to be. It's not the aftermath of what happened after Downfall, it's the aftermath of what happened after Dead Space 2 and Extraction. So there's a lot missing here, and you get that feeling, you get that sense that there are missing pieces to the puzzle because there's more going on. Let's face it, I've missed technically episodes 2 and 3, even though third comes after Aftermath. But yeah, there's a lot going on, and it's hard to follow. Aftermath is a flashback movie. Okay, you get these people who are supposed to go retrieve parts of the artifact that are all in shambles, and it's one of those movies I actually made fun of. I actually always wanted to make a movie where you get people who confess things, and then after you confess them, you kill them. Well, that's pretty much what happens here. Don't get me wrong; you only actually kill one person. The other person they decide to lock up for whatever reason whatsoever, and I forget what they want to do with the third person. That was the worst part about Dead Space Aftermath. One of the biggest problems I had ultimately were the changes in animation. It's a flashback movie, so obviously it should be no surprise too much that when one person is saying he sees he sees his daughter, that the daughter is a black chick. But later on, when we see other versions of her daughter, of this guy's daughter, she's white because it's all perspective. Okay, parts of this movie are just your standard cartoon, computer graphics. The another part is like some bizarre noir style look and appearance. You get to hear their stories. You're listening to everyone's story about how they got there, how this one guy lost his arm, blah blah blah, and what it was like from each different perspective. Everything is different. The story itself, the setting changes. What one man sees is how one man sees it is completely different from how another person sees it. The movie itself tries to be one of those good old-fashioned conspiracy movies where the government is in charge, they want all the information, and they are ruthless. Fine. Been there, done that. That's not the problem. I mean, and the problem is it leaves too much open. You have no idea what they're doing to this one lady. You have no idea why they're killing everybody. They're trying to cover this up, but what are you really trying to cover up exactly? Like, they found some artifacts and they, got some monsters. What's the cover-up exactly? But that's part of the mystery, and I'm sure if you play the video games, it's all connected. If you play the video games, I have no doubt in my mind, all of this will make sense, But because I don't play the video games, because I watch the movies just for the movie's sake, I get lost. I get confused, and I'm left wondering, why am I worried about this? Why am I caring? So the movie ultimately, if you haven't played the games, I wouldn't go to these movies yet. They look scary, but you're going to be lost because the universe is not well defined in these movies. They could have added another 10 minutes and just gave us some more depth about who these people are and what they want. I got a little bit of it. I got, that this is an alien artifact and it's supposed to have some strange powers. The monsters can't go near this thing for some reason, and they don't really explain that. So it makes you just you leave with more answers than you come up with. So you might want to play the video games. I wanted to like Dead Space, and I was going to get Dead Space 2 because I believe it's going to add more horror, more scared. Kind of like Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem. I can't talk right now for some reason. Sanity's Requiem was a classic horror game. The difference between that and any other horror game is that this one actually gave me nightmares. I was actually freaked out by this game, and I loved it. I keep playing it over and over again. I wish they would make a sequel. I heard they might be making a sequel, but you never know. It's in development hell, but I miss it. Well, guys, that's it for me today for my reviews. We will see you later.